did in Japan long, he only had one enemy, and that was Chiang Kai-shek. So what I'm trying to say is, as commander-in-chief of the army, there is already built in that system a hierarchy, a top-down hierarchy, like all military organizations, from the general down through the private. That's the way the police department was structured. But this woman, her essay on page 4, interviewed young Chinese running away from Mao's China in Hong Kong. And she told about, at first, the Chinese people were for it because of all the repression and foreign invasion in their country, ripping them off, and the Chinese people were for, and they all supported. But after a while, the great leap forward, they wanted to industrialize, but they tried to industrialize with manpower, human labor. And there were things like this movement in Chinese, I forgot the translation, but it was called Qian Wu Lian. That was it. And they could not do it overtly. They had to be, because if they were above ground, they would be crushed. Okay? And what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. But, okay, anyway, they, in the great leap forward, trying to industrialize, they went out, they were forced, a lot of people were forced, students and all that, to go into the countryside to work in the fields and all that. And after they worked in the field, they had to go to a meeting. They had to. And that's when you're tired working all day and you have to obey somebody higher up and you're the working class yourself, after a while it gets old, you know. So I just wanted to bring that up because I believe that a society we want to create, we got to get rid of all hierarchy, all top down, because that's one of the good things about this Occupy movement. We try to be a horizontal communication, and I'll just leave it at that. But if you want to read about that, it's in her second book. It's called Philosophy and Revolution, and in that book, she went to Africa, talked to leaders, and talked to the common people. And in those days in Africa, there were a lot of African Marxists because that was the days of the Cold War. Yeah. Between the communists, the Russian communists, Chinese communists, and the Western capitalists. Well, those communists were state capitalists, but a lot of most people didn't know that. A lot of uh, so-called communists were overseas. So anyway, this book she wrote about Africa, there were a lot of African Marxists, and even Nkrumah from Ghana, or Senghor from Senegal, they made some beautiful statements. But once in the early 60s, one after another, 16 countries, African countries, kicked out the European colonialists, and they put black people in power. But they did not change the structure of the government. And that was a mistake, because the structure of the government was capitalist, imperialist, repression, and it ended up that the black leaders repress their own people. They were so concerned about develop industrially that they were backward. They wanted to develop industrially, that they cooperated with the capitalists from outside, because the capitalists could work from outside as well as from within the country. And they cooperated with them. But with all that cooperation, very little development of Africa has taken place because the capitalist system, they have enough money for themselves They don't have enough money. They can't create enough to develop the whole world, and that's not the nature of capitalism. So we need a new system totally. But I'm giving out this paper, news and letter. The founder of the paper, I don't think nobody knows more about the writings of Marx than this woman. Her essay's on page 4. I'm giving them out, but if you, uh, a donation will help. If you don't have it, take the paper. All right? I got the latest issue, and I got the past issue if you want it.
Thank you. You can just leave them. People will pick them up.
Yeah, but if they don't pick it up, I'm gonna take it home.
Yeah.
You know.
We're about to really close the meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, one thing I
Thank
wanted
you.
to say about Mao, and I'm not the expert on Mao, and
I have
He
one,
was
thank
a
you. I have
revolutionary.
one on.
He was fighting against repression.
one thing I remember reading though
Yeah.
is that and actually from several different sources was you know when the workers started realizing that they weren't actually going to have communism, that it was just going to stagnate at socialism, they started saying, well, let's reinvigorate, let's fight, let's build this fight so
Yeah.
we can finally make that transition.
Yeah.
But I remember reading,
Yeah.
like I say, from several different sources, is that when that happened, one of the I mean, that was Mao who attacked these people,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and so
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I mean, this is you know, the history for the fight for a better world is fraught with mistakes and
Yeah.
contradictions. Right?
Contradiction.
Yeah.
Contradiction that's not resolved.
Right. Right. It seems like everybody's kind of trickling away. I think our preset time limit is kind of come and gone.
Yeah.
Is there anything that and I only stood up because my back was starting to hurt.
Yeah.
I got a cramp. Um, but is there anything that anybody wanted to say to help sum up any points that they made, or anything that they thought about today? Or
Um,
no?
I would like to get the title of this actual
Oh yeah.
discussion.
Well, it was a loose title, but we were talking about. I think it was an approach to discussing. Was it dialectics, communism, and socialism?
And
Yeah. So we
also
were just kind of.
the the book that you were reading from. What
Yeah,
was
that's a
that?
book from Alexandra Kollontai called
Uh-huh.
Love of Worker Bees. She wrote this in 1923. Yeah. So it's really good.
Yeah.
I recommend it. So anyway, it was really great being here with all of you guys today, and it was really cool being part of this conversation. And I think that only good can come from exchanging ideas. Um, and hopefully this is not the end of it. Hopefully we have this. We can have things like this regularly.
Yeah.
'Cause I know it's on a smaller scale, right? Regularly, but a full weekend of it would be really really awesome. Well, anyway, if nobody had anything else to say, I mean, I guess we
I
can
had
kind of.
just
Sure.
something to
Yeah.
say. I really enjoy this conference because this is the spirit of Occupy, and that we can hash out these ideas. And again, have a creative, we can build like cells. And the host is sick, it's got cancer, but the cells are healthy. And these cells will get bigger and bigger, and they will merge into each other. And we will have a revolutionary society. You can call it communitarian socialism like they do in Bolivia. You can have the Zapatista system. You can have, whatever name you want to call it. And, we have to get rid of this cancer, which is capitalism. And we have to take care of each other. That's the most important, is to take care of each other. And I see this in Occupy. And we mustn't become disillusioned. And struggle is not going to, we're not going to take over overnight. It can take a while to build these healthy cells and destroy the cancerous body.
Yeah. Oh, at the same time, though, I think we do need to have a sense of urgency,
Yes.
right? It's not
That's
that
what
we
I was
can't.
saying about that. That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Mother Earth isn't going to wait around much longer.
Yeah, and pretty soon it's gonna kick us off, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and maybe rightly so. Maybe rightly so, and I think that we need to find other ways to be, if nothing else, sustainable. Yeah, for sure.
Could I? I would just like to read that excerpt that you did, or if you'd like to read it again, I don't know,
Yeah,
because
why don't you
I
go ahead
would.
and read it? I'm going to try to talk to some of these people.
Oh, sure.
It's the first page here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I wanted to read this to you guys because it was read earlier when I wasn't streaming. Um, she had come to see me, as did many other women, for advice and moral support. I'd already met her in passing at delegates' conferences. She had a lovely face, with rather melancholy though observant eyes. "I've come to see you because I've nowhere to go," she announced. "I've been without a roof over my head for 3 weeks. I have no money, nothing to live on. You must find me a job, otherwise there's nothing for it but to go to the streets." "But how has this happened?" I asked. "You used to work, didn't you? Surely you had a job. Or did you get the sack?" "Yes, I used to work in a dispatch office, but I got the sack over 2 months ago. It was because of my child. She was ill, you see, which meant I had to miss work. I managed to avoid the sack 3 times, but finally in August I lost my job. Within 2 weeks of that my child died. But by then they wouldn't take me back." She hung her head, and I realized that she was concealing tears. "But why did they sack you?" I asked her. "Weren't you working satisfactorily?" "Oh, no, it wasn't that. I'm a good worker. They just thought I had no reason to work, since my husband makes a good living. He's working at the moment for a government trust company, where he's got an important post. He's an executive." "So why did you say you have no money and no roof over your head? Have you separated?" "No, we haven't officially separated. I've just left him, and I haven't gone back. And I'm not going to either, whatever happens." Now she could no longer check her tears. "Oh, I'm so sorry." So that was about someone who is living in a socialist system and how still without a job, without money, they have no power.